we are Team 6, and today we're going to be talking about the Canadian maple syrup cartel. So in our presentation, we're going to be talking about the background, some background information about the cartel, the current economic effects, the options, and finally the conclusion. To start us, we have Anara to talk about the background for the cartel.
So the Quebec maple syrup producers, the organization was established in 1966. So their main goal was to promote the local interest of local producers and sell at full potential. And now, can you guess what the percentage of the world maple syrup is produced by the FPEC? It's actually 70%, which means that the organization is the largest existing supplier of maple syrup in the world right now. What you can ask why have cartel in the first place? So this actually because the maple trees need specific conditions to produce the specific climate conditions, and also the production of maple syrup varies each year. And not only this, but also the demand is really unsteady because during recession years, people don't really buy maple syrup because they don't think this is really essential. So in order to solve these issues, the organization was formed. And then in next slide. In 1990s and 2000, they implemented the three strategies to get even better. The first one was the maple syrup sales agency. This negotiates price, also established terms with the producer, payment terms with the producers, and does all the marketing. So as you see, the United States is the largest consumer of maple syrup, and also as well as the competitor to Canada. So the next strategy is International Strategic Reserve. So they created this to operate ups and downs common to agricultural goods, and also this allowed to the organization to set prices on international stage by controlling the global supply. They did it by storing the product during the strong years and selling it during the weak years. So the third strategy is policies on quotas. This works to limit the amount producers make. In order not to exceed the demand and to keep the prices high. So actually, before this policy was implemented, the Quebec had really strong production years. But after this, there were few years of shortages, and due to this, the strategic reserve was running dry.
So for the current economic effects, we see that it is actually increasing the income for FPAC. We see them getting profit off of their goods because they're keeping those high prices and selling them at a good margin. But there is some fight back against this with different producers saying that it's limiting their production, it's limiting their ability to actually make a profit. So what they do is they actually go to the black market and sell their goods to unauthorized buyers to try and get their goods sold out to a larger market. It's also led to situations such as the Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist, where a third of the strategic maple syrup reserve was stolen and attempted to be sold under New Brunswick maple syrup, which is not under the same rules as FPAC. But overall, it is a boon to the Canadian economy, showing $750 million in GDP in that one product alone. As for a global economy, we see that it improves profits for producers not just in Canada, but also the US, where they are quite happy to have FPAC controlling the economy because they make profits on everything. It keeps a consistent supply for consumers, which means that they don't turn to substitutes in times of scarcity. And these high prices, of course, yes, mean they make a good profit, but it also does mean that countries that are more price sensitive won't be able to buy this product, as it is worth about 20 times the price of a barrel of oil. Now, one thing to notice is that there is a drop in the global market share of FPAC as these American producers are increasing their production, going from about 83% in 2003 down to 72% currently. Now, this has some strategic long-term implications because it means that FPAC won't be able to control the prices in the long term, as they can't match the demand with the American producers overproducing.
We also could understand a little bit more about the impacts of the cartel in the industry. So I'm going to talk about the first scenario, which is the dissolution of the cartel. In this situation, the producers are allowed to produce up to their full potential because they regulate the industry themselves. It is important to talk about this scenario because because it seems like it's probably an inevitable outcome due to the pressure of the competitors. So in this situation, the producers depend only on their production of their sugar bushes. So if there is a strong year, there is an increase in the supply. And since there is no cartel, there is no reserves. So the producers end up overwhelming the demand and the price drops. A good solution to this would be decreasing the supply. To decrease the supply, it could end up happening naturally in a weak year of production. So in a weak year, they decrease the supply and the prices go up, which many consumers go after substitutes. The problem with this is that if they have weak years consistently, the consumers end up losing their faith in the overall industry of maple syrup, and they might end up sticking with other substitutes.
So I will talk about the second scenario, which is about the increasing demand for the FPAC. There is two outcomes to this scenario. The first one is if the supply is lower than the demand. In this case, the FPAC will have to increase their quotas and also issue new licenses. So by issuing new licenses, it gives maple syrup producers the ability to produce and sell through the cartel's chain. And on the other hand, the second outcome would be about if the supply is higher than the demand. In this case, the FPAC might have to acquire extra warehouses because of their surplus, and also they will have to sell some of these reserves at a lower price to hit a wider market. There is only one issue in this scenario, is that if international competitors' production is beyond the FPAC sustainable level, it will force the FPAC to reduce their prices, but also the FPAC will have an excessive reserve of maple syrup that will be unsold.
I'm going to talk about scenario 3. This is also a scenario where the cartel is still existent, and it is about decreasing in demand. There are two reasons why the demand can decrease. First of all, it could be a recession. It could be a globally recession, but it could also be a recession in a country which buys a lot of maple syrup. Or the other reason could be that people find better substitutes. For example, they could find a thing which is more healthier than maple syrup. Then for the FPAC, there are two options to kind of find solutions for these problems. First is set price to explore new markets. That would also hit customers who are more price sensitive. And this is a movement down the supply curve. The other option is to try to reduce production. This is a shift of the supply curve. And this can also make inequality or cause inequality in the cartel and can open up for black markets. Both of the solutions are not in favor of the Quebec maple syrup producers because these options would always cut down their profit margin.
So, in conclusion, we feel that the maple syrup cartel is a positive force in the market as they control the supply and allow the producers to earn more profits and retain the consumers to still be consuming maple syrup instead of looking for a substitute. This also, the increase in the demand for maple syrup in the global market is causing the industry to make more potential profits. We would also recommend the maple producers to ramp up the production for maple syrup in the future to keep up with the long-term demands and move in the same path that they're following to maximize the industry's profitability and stability. Thank you all.
Do you want to ask the group?
Yeah, any questions?
Yeah, when they transport maple syrup in Canada, it's done with armed cars because of the most valuable thing.